Hello, and welcome to Kloeker's Education Foundation, providing quality content for amazing teachers and students. If you're joining us from a previous video, previous series, welcome back. And if this is your first time, we're glad you're here. This is our World History series, and this lesson is on ancient American civilizations. Now, this is just an overview. Before we begin, don't forget to check out the link in the description below for a set of free guided notes to go along with this lesson. So let's dive in. One of the first ancient American civilizations that come up and that we have records of is the Olmecs, ranging over 800 years from around 1200 BC to 400 BC. These are descendants of the hunter-gatherers who crossed the Bering Strait and migrated south into the region known as Mesoamerica. This, of course, being the mother culture. Settling along Mexico's Gulf Coast, they are known for creating the large stone monuments, the stone heads and earthen pyramids that we find throughout Central America and Mesoamerica. We know that the Olmecs, through records, were ruled by a ruling class of priests and nobles, very similar to the other ancient river valley civilizations which predate them in other regions of the world. We know that they had an extensive trade network going down into Latin America and throughout Mesoamerica. We have dated tools that were made out of obsidian and jade. However, it is unknown why the Olmec Empire collapsed, but we do have some reason to believe that they influenced the rise of the Mayan civilization. Now, a civilization that overlaps with the Olmecs is the Zapotec civilization from around 1000 BC to around 600 AD, which is around the time of the creation of Islam. Now, they are the civilization that builds their capital at Tenochtitlan, modern-day Mexico City, and will be the major site for future civilizations. We know that the Zapotecs had an established military force and were noted for their warriors and the conquest throughout Central America. They built a massive empire, very similar to the Olmecs. They were ruled by nobles and priests. We see that they also built stone temples and pyramids. However, we do not see them building giant stone heads like the Olmecs had. They created a calendar based on the movement of the sun, and this will, of course, influence the Maya civilization through cultural diffusion. We see that the Zapotecs had their own system of hieroglyphic writing similar to that of which we saw in ancient Egypt. However, characters and symbols are of course different. And we know that their religious practices are going to influence the Aztecs along with the Toltec religious groups. We also have the rise of the Maya civilization, also known as the Mayan in Western culture. They're going to continue many of the Olmec and Zapotec traditions. They're going to be made up of loose city-states, very similar to what we'll see in medieval Europe. We'll see a deep study in the topics of astronomy, observing the movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and of course relating these to the activity of their gods. We know that the Maya practiced human sacrifice, very similar to the Aztec, which will come up much later. They did have advanced mathematics, having a 260-day religious calendar and having the concept of zero in their science. And we see quite the architectural feats, the elaborate pyramids, the temples, and the ball courts built throughout their civilizations. The Maya ball game being pits or pocatalk, depending on which culture you are coming from. Now, the Aztecs are around from 1300 to about 1521. They are the civilization that is in the New World when the Spanish arrived in 1492 and continue to explore with Columbus and the conquistadors after. We're going to see them rebuild the Zapotec ruins of Tenochtitlan. We're going to see the continued emphasis on astronomy and mathematics. We'll see the advanced engineering of them building portable islands for farming and lakes for housing. We will see planned cities with major thoroughfares going through. and Native American equivalent of aqueducts to bring in that fresh water to the city. Now, this is not like the Roman aqueducts with lead pipes and stone, but rather more of digging canals and using the geography to bring fresh water in to the city. We've, of course, seen the continuation of elaborate temples being built, of palaces and cities and pyramids, much like the previous civilizations. But ultimately, they're going to have the downfall when Cortez and the conquistadors are coming through the New World, waging warfare, trying to imperialize and colonize the New World. Now, as we venture south in the New World, talking about ancient American civilizations, in Latin America, we see two groups emerge, the Chavín and the Nazca. Now, they are, of course, having religious temples and symbols. They're going to have their art spread out throughout the ruins in Peru, and the Nazca will be known for the Nazca lines. These are large drawings on soil of their gods. Now, on the ground, it is nearly impossible to tell what the image is. It is only from a bird's eye view can you see the full beauty and structure that they have created. Now we see the rise of the Inca in around 1200 AD. Now they're going to last into the 1500s, suffering a similar fate of that of the Aztecs being conquered by the Spanish. Now, this is of course because the Spanish have superior weapons, muskets, cannons, armor, and of course the greatest weapon of the Europeans, diseases, smallpox, measles, mumps, typhus. All of these are going to wipe through the Native American communities where they have no immunity and absolutely butcher and decimate the population. Now, with the Inca, we start to see the beginnings of intermarriage between the Spanish and the native people, making a mixed race class known as the mestizos. We see that in Latin America, the Spanish are going to use the encomienda system, enslavement of the natives, harsh treatment of the natives, forced labor on farms, ranches, mines, through the systems, with the goal of achieving freedom, if you will, in the eyes of the Spanish with their conversion to Christianity. However, we see that this is going to continue to decimate the Native American population, and we're going to see the resistance starting to uprise with the natives fighting back in armed conflict against the Spanish. The Inca are going to have many achievements as well. We continue the dedication in astronomy and mathematics, having two separate calendars. We see a unique mathematics system known as quipu, which is knots on strings, and the type of knot as well as the location on the string could represent different characters or values, even a decimal system to provide government records in their culture. We see that they continue to build extensive palaces like Machu Picchu, as well as an extensive trade network built throughout Latin America, those ancient roads being the basis for many modern-day highways in Latin America. We see a uniform system of government where all authority from the city-states builds up to the emperor like a federal system. And architecturally speaking, we see them overcoming their environment like the river valley civilizations in East Asia with terrace farming, which are carving out steps in the mountainside to be used for growing crops as well as defense from foreign invaders. And that wraps up our lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This was just a brief overview into the ancient American civilizations. We have more resources on Teachers Pay Teachers, YouTube, Rumble, and the Kloeker Education Foundation website with whole specific videos on the early Mesoamerican cultures and the Inca, Maya, and Aztec. So to check those out, what's new, what's next, click here. Just below something you might like. And on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel, click here. All of this and more is just a click away. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.